Alright, sorry I had to leave on that cliffhanger. It was the perfect time for me to cut that, so, it is what it is. Little recap. Started my day regularly, had the Patron on me, got called up to the office, passed it off in the nick of time, didn't have any chance of getting it off any other way. We get into the room, two more of my friends come. Me and my friend were tripping out, trying to think of all the different dirt we were into and trying to like shield ourselves the best we could from it. Like, which is really, really like, it sounds like nothing, but it's really, really like anxiety inducing when you don't know what it's for and you just have done a bunch of different stuff and you don't know. So you just got to try to protect yourself the best you can when you don't know what's coming next. So we go into this back room and there's a kid, like this little kid that I swear kids are just small these days, man. Like I swear when I was in 6th grade, I was not like one of these kids that looks like they're like 8 years old. I don't know. Maybe that's what everybody says. I don't know. But like we're in there and we're kind of all looking at each other like I don't know this kid. Like I have no idea. Like no idea. I was like we weren't like bullies. Like we would mess around with each other, but like not anything like that. Like I'm not going to go fight a kid or lunch money. Even the thing I was talking about with the lunch tickets, like that was just more of like it wasn't like give me your lunch tickets or something. It was more like somebody came up on him and was just like, here, have these. And I was like, okay. So anyways, I say all that to say that like I didn't recognize this kid at all. But apparently what had happened was during snack, so in between second and third period and the little break we have, somebody from my friend group, I really don't, to this day I don't know who it was, but somebody was fucking throwing rocks. And some kid got hit with a rock, and of course, what do you think he did? He went and he told. So I'm sure that he told and said that it came from that group. I mean, we used to hang out so deep at my school, like it was like it's not even funny. Like 20 or like 30 people, like very, very, very deep. So I could only imagine like that kid just pointing to like a sea of like our group. And honestly, I mean, you can call it what you want, but I mean, I call it profiling. Like the way that we always ended up in there. I mean, granted, it was like a 50-50 shot. Somebody was involved, so I'll give them that. But still, like things like this would happen like almost regularly where they would just call up a bunch of us in when something happened and they didn't know who did it or didn't know what was going on. Like I might as well fit this in here real quick. There was another time in 8th grade, so 1 year later, they call all of us, me and like all my friends, like my core group of friends, like all of us. They call us up there. We sit at this long table that fits like 5 or 6 people on each side and one person on like a dinner table, a long one. And we're all sitting there and we're all sitting there in silence. And it was towards like the end of the school year. And I have people that can vouch for this that were in this room, in this meeting, that know exactly what I'm talking about, and they know that this is 100% facts. They took us into a room, sat us down, and we had a conversation, and they were telling us how relieved they were that we were going to be leaving Jefferson and that we weren't going to be their problem anymore. like literally they put it like that, or saying, well, you're their problem now, you're the high school's problem now. That's what they kept telling us. You're the high school's problem now. And they were just saying how we stressed them out. There's never been a class in all their years that had so many police issues and ambulance issues and like all that stuff. And then you want to know how they finished it out? They passed around a little plastic like tub filled with little like Kit Kats and like little like chocolates and stuff, and they literally passed it around to all of us for all of us to take one, and we just sat there and ate chocolate. and that was it. Like that was the whole thing. Like I'll bring someone up who else was in that meeting who can like verify it, because I know it sounds wild, but like I'm not even joking. So anyways, we find out, about, like, I tried to say, hey, I didn't throw nothing at any kid, like I don't know what you guys are talking about, I don't know who did what, whatever, but basically they break the news to us that all of us are going to get suspended. And I remember that day was a Thursday, so the next day was Friday, and I can remember that. I'll tell you why later. So we're sitting in that, like, they tell us, like, all right, well, you guys are going to get picked up, like, your school day is done. And I'm like, all right. So one by one we get picked up. My first friend, he definitely had like some strict parents, like some pretty strict parents that were not going to be happy about that news. So his mom comes in, she's red in the face, just like angry. She worked at the airport, so I think it was like not easy for her to like leave like that. So she just tells him, "Get in the car," and then they go. Then my next friend comes, and his dad was like a OG Hispanic, like Raiders, like Loke glasses, like just like your average, like homie. And I'll never forget this. His dad, like my friend was sitting to the left of me, and the entrance to the door was like to the left of him. So then it was me, then it was my friend, my other friend. So his dad comes in, he looks at all three of us like sitting in the chair, and then he just like zeroes in on my friend, and he takes his like glasses and he puts his glasses down so he can make eye contact with them, and then he just looks at him and he goes, "You know you're fucking dead, right?" And then, so they're off finally, or they're off. Then it's just me and my like best friend. So we're waiting there, and his dad comes in, and it's funny because his dad is such like a low key dude that he even tried to like save him. Like, I'll explain how they called his mom and his dad, and apparently like separately or whatever, and his dad was already at the school and he lived down the street from the school. So all of a sudden his dad's phone starts ringing, and like his dad picks up, and he's talking to his wife, my friend's mom, and she's like asking him like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "I'm just down the street. What's up?" He's like trying not to lie, but also trying to, you know what I mean? Like I knew exactly what he was doing when I heard. He was just like, "Oh, I'm just down the street. I'm around the corner. What's going on?" Unfortunately, they had called her too, so she already knew what was going on. So his dad tried the best he could, which was like he's a good guy. He's a good guy, solid ass guy. So unfortunately, his mom had found out or whatever, so it was what it was. So that leaves me. I'm sitting there, and I always like people worked far and stuff. My mom would she be working in Compton, or she'd be working in like downtown LA or whatever. So like it wasn't easy for me to just get like picked up and dropped off or whatever. Like even it was even to the point where if I got sick at school in middle school, I could walk home, like how they'll let you do it in high school, or like that was always an option for me because I didn't have anybody around like locally. And my pad was always the pad to go to after school, before school, to partake in activities, like it was just like, it's amazing the stuff we would do with like open pad then, and then like how you get older and stuff or whatever. But it's just kind of funny to think of, like, we were like filming viral YouTube videos and like just like stuff that you wouldn't exactly imagine with all that freedom. So anyways, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for like forever. Finally, my mom comes in, and like my mom, she's a nice like little old lady. And she's not only that, but I have an older brother that went to that school, so he kind of and he was like a good student. Like he does like biology and stuff, like the opposite of me. If you don't know my brother and you know me, just imagine the opposite of me. Like a responsible, smart, like organized dude that's on the point with like mathematics and all that stuff, and like just yeah. So like my mom had already, like the teachers I had were possibly teachers he had and whatever. So it's not like it wasn't as much of a stranger. So my mom comes in and just instantly, oh, how's this person? How's that? My mom, she has a good memory and she talks to everybody. So she's like, oh, how's your husband? Oh, how's your daughter? Oh, how's your pet doing? Like she just remembers little stuff like that. So she's like talking to everybody and she's like asking people how their summers were and what their plans were and all this stuff. And it was just like the vibe completely changed when she got in there. So I'm not even joking. I had to be like, hey, like, can we go? Like it became more of a social call for my mom than it was for me to like get in trouble. But like my mom, she knows me, and like they knew what was up, that I had nothing to do with that, but I had to take my lumps with everybody else cuz that's what happens. And that's why I started this off by saying about the guilt by association. There, I have stories where I slip out of it, like I said, if it's someone's car and whatever and nobody wants to own up to it, and like it really becomes about personal, like who had what and whatever. But sometimes it's just the group, and if you were there and it's the wrong place, wrong time, just like my juvie story, if I had have been there instead of walking the other direction, I would have been in juvie, I would have been on house arrest, all that same stuff would have happened to me. They wouldn't have took the time to go, oh, well, he didn't touch the backpack. No, I was running with the group of people who did the crime. So like I'm going to get like lumped into that too. So luckily I learned this lesson at the ripe age of however old you are when you're in 7th grade, like 13. I always get the math wrong. I want to say 13. But just remember, you are who you hang out with. And if you're ever wondering why things aren't going your way, or you're frustrated at the results that you're getting with life, maybe sometimes it's good to take a step back and think about and look who's around you, who are you surrounding yourself with, what you're surrounding yourself with, what you're doing. And I promise you it all plays a role into it. And the better people you keep around you, the better of a person you will be, and the better person that you will want to be. And I'm just trying to be a little bit better than I was every day than I was the day before it. So, hope you guys like my story, and hope you guys have a good one. Peace.